Yo. I mean, you're not wrong, Grimlong. That's literally what was happening. And y'all can't see it, but there's nothing going on underneath. Whoa, that's loud. What happened? Did I hit it? Yeah, we'll just set it there. What is up? That's kind of loud. Let's bring it down a little. Jason is getting ready to tank the 59 at the bottom of the list. He's had one. He knows the grim truth. That's true. We'll get into the tier list. But first, let me turn down the music. It is too loud in my ears, and I cannot think. Is that better? Is that too low? I do want the music on, but I don't want it too loud. And it was too loud a moment ago. Is that too low? Can you hear me? Am I too loud? Boom. How's it going, guys? To all my weekend warriors, happy Monday. It's kind of is a banger. And if anyone was here last time, which I don't know if it was last week or the week before, and I said, wow, this music's really good, there's no way it's not copyright free. That was true. It wasn't copyright free. As long as the moment the stream ended, I was hit with copyright strikes. Okay, not copyright strikes. I will say that. Copyright strike is far worse than what I hit. What I hit was monetization. That was different. It hits you with a, hey, 20 seconds of your 3-hour stream belong to somebody who owned that music, so they get all of the money. Any tips you received, any ad money, that is ours now. That's what they hit me with. Even though only 20 seconds of the stream had their song on, they are now entitled to my life, and they're entitled to any future compensation on the video, which is such a dumb system. And there's YouTube will never change it. People have been complaining about this for 10 plus years. It's simply they will never change it. And you go through and you start looking at the people who are stealing the money, and you're thinking, I don't think this belongs to you. Like you'll have a Nintendo song and some random person will claim it, and it's like I don't think that's yours actually. But it's kind of not worth it to get into with them. It's a bad system. It's always been a bad system, and it will continue to be a bad system. So there's no point in fighting it. You just don't use copyrighted music. They're now entitled to your firstborn child. That is true. Tell me, is the music too loud or too low? Am I too loud or too low? Everything sound good? How's everyone doing? Reluctant Hero, Grimlong, Tech Blacksmith, Stang. How's it going? Everyone else? All the lurkers? I have learned that there are many people. I guess I always knew this because the chat does not match up with the concurrent viewers. Obviously, there's going to be lurkers. There are people who lurk literally every single stream, every single video, and have never commented once. And that's cool. I'm cool with that. But it's just interesting to see. Like, literally, people for years watch literally everything and never type a single thing. So let's tip our hats to the lurkers because they matter too. So if you're watching this and you don't comment, That's a-okay. We love you. Sometimes people are just along for a ride and they don't want to chime in, and that's cool. So yes, we are going to do a GPU tier list, and we'll get into that in a little bit. I want to kind of hang out for a bit, and then we'll get into that probably in about 20 minutes, I'd say. Yeah, just about that. And I will go into the criteria for the tier list, because obviously it's objective. Frankly, if I say it, that is true. That's how we're going to do it. Not really. It's going to be there's going to be a tit-a-tat with the chat. I can be swayed from my opinion, and it's going to be in a way where, like, maybe a video card was great when it came out and it was S tier, brand new, but used, the price hasn't came down much, so maybe it's lower. So it's not necessarily going to be only what it is now. It's also going to be what it was then. It's going to be a combination of the two. Okay. So if something was awesome when it came out and it sucks now, it's going to be in the middle. Or if something sucked when it came out new because it was overpriced and it's a great price now, it's going to go higher. So just know it's going to be kind of wonky. Are you growing the beard back out? No, I'm just lazy. My beard grows back exponentially faster than anything else on my body, and I don't trim it every day. That's just how it is. Certain cameras hit the light a little bit more. Certain cameras hit the light a little bit less, where it looks like I'm growing it out. This is about 2 days of beard, and I will probably trim it tonight in the shower. So no, I'm not growing it out. And it's pretty funny. For anyone who's watched the channel, I've never had a beard in the channel for much longer. I mean, maybe here and there, like on vacation. When I'm on vacation and I've streamed before, I had a beard. And it's funny because the profile picture on my channel is me with a beard. And the reason that is because the day I made the channel, I'm like, oh, I need a profile picture. I guess I'll just take a photo of myself real quick as a stand-in. And up until that point, I had always had a beard. For years and years and years, I had a beard. And I didn't necessarily have a beard. I just didn't shave my beard. So like oftentimes I would have a beard for months and months and months on end. And then I made the channel and I'm like, you know what? Should probably shave my beard. Mostly because I think I look significantly younger without a beard, and I don't necessarily want to appeal to younger people, but I don't want to put off younger people, right? Just like I don't want to put off older people or people. Hey, Brownie just walked in. I don't want to put off anyone, and I believe somebody with a beard does put off certain people. It gives off certain vibes. So I try to stay clean shaven, and that's just how it is. I'm not against beards necessarily. I did have one for so long. I think you look boss with the beard. Well, I appreciate that, but I disagree. I don't think I look boss. I think I look just slightly older. Yeah. I like having a beard just because I hate shaving, but you know, it grows too fast. It simply grows too fast. This is about 2 days. And the way the light is hitting it and this camera is hitting it just right, it looks like I'm growing it out. But sometimes I'll have a beard day that is like 3 or 4 days and it looks less. It just depends on camera, yeah. Jake Sento says, definitely here to lurk. I'll comment since you mentioned it. I'm all about the budget stuff. I'm here to learn about the actual top dogs to watch. Well, thanks, man. I think you're the top dog. But yeah, definitely lurkers exist, and we love you out there. You guys are great. Some people just want the background noise, and that's cool too. We love you. Oh my God, it is 100 degrees here in this room. I am in the corner of my home where it is like we have AC. The AC is running. And downstairs it feels pretty good. And up here, it's in the very far corner of the AC. The AC unit that they installed into this home when it was built was just far too small for the house. It's not a large house, but the fact that it's just too small. Like we've asked several AC people, they go, yeah, this is not the right AC. This is a cheap person. So that it just doesn't push as hard as it can into this room. It trickles in. So we have I have a portable AC in this room that if during the summer, if it's not on, it will literally get probably about 80 to 85 degrees in this room. It is a nightmare. Hey, buddy. Like a mustache puts off, I have to tell people when I move into a neighborhood energy. That's pretty much it, right? It's not necessarily like I look off to people with beards or mustaches. I've had a mustache at a time. It's just a lot of work to upkeep, and I'm not sure how to explain it. I'm doing a bad job of explaining it. Okay, Brownie, okay. He's walking behind the camera. My beard grows at a decent pace, but I only shave 2 days a week, Monday and Thursday, and I only shave my neck at that. I haven't been clean shaven since summer of 2008. You saying you haven't been clean shaven since the movie Step Brothers came out? My goodness. Dollar Dylan, what's up, man? Did I move this? Oh yeah. Oops. So I wanted to do more streams, but I wanted to justify it as well. So I am going to put a random goal every stream or two and say, hey, if we meet this goal, don't feel pressured, anyone. Basically, it's a goal that if we hit this goal, maybe something cool will happen. And I think that would encourage me to do more streams and also encourage more better streams. Because I personally, I know you guys like streams where we just fuck around and talk about tech. I don't like that because I scramble. And so I need ideas to push forward. And so that's why this tier list I thought would be a good thing. I think that's fun. Something that we can all work together on, like a tier list. I thought that was pretty fun. And I think I wanted to do a studio tour. I think it'd be really fun to do a live stream where I give a tour of everything in this room and outside. The tour is outside this room as well. Y'all just don't see it. And maybe go into more details, because if it was a video, it wouldn't be as fun, because I'm not going to talk about every single drawer. You know what I mean? In a video. But if it's in a live stream, why not? That sounds fun. So I thought maybe I could take the camera around and talk about like the desk setup, the closet, outside of there, each individual thing on this shelf, where it came from, what it is. I thought that would be pretty cool. But as an extended goal for the stream. So if you are financially stable and you're cool with supporting small streamers, feel free to use the super chat and it'll go towards this live studio tour. And if we don't hit it today, that's okay. You know, maybe we'll hit it next time, or the next time after that, or the next time after that. It's okay, you know. But the more we hit it, the more likely streams will come. Does that make sense? So I think, and I set it to 50 because I don't want people to donate too much, and I want it to be not too crazy. But I think I can justify doing a 2 and 3 hour stream once per week with that. And I'll be like, you know what? $50. I think that's cool. AC units are stupid expensive. When my dad passed, I inherited his C5 Corvette and I had to trade it for a new AC unit furnace. Dang. Yeah, they are. It's crazy. We our AC unit still works, but it seems like every year it's about 17 years old. So it is on the cusp of needing to get replaced any day now. And we are like, every year or two, something happens to it where we've had to fix it for the past 5 years. So it's like, it's getting ready to be replaced soon. And we'll have to get a bigger one because it just to supplement the house properly. And I think it's going to be quite a bit. Yeah. quite a bit. So we probably should start saving for it now because it's going to happen. What is the goal amount for the foot cam? Look, Dylan, I'll be honest with you. If you Venmo me $300 right now, I will send you a picture of my foot. And it won't be my good foot. It will be the bad foot. And I do have a bad foot. It's a gross foot. One is okay. If I showed you the other one, it is not a good look. But I imagine that's what you want. So that's the price. I think Q instantly a super chat from Dylan for $300. Like instantly. Now I say Venmo because YouTube takes like half of what y'all give. It's part of the system. I get it. But for a foot cam, yeah. Look how excited he is. Like, oh, and if you're a lurker here, I've been streaming on Twitch a little bit recently. I know Wesley, Reluctant Hero, a couple of y'all, Dylan was in there. This past week, I did a few random video game streams where we don't really talk tech much. It's mostly just play video games. We did some Back 4 Blood, High on Life, some Borderlands 3 the other night, and that was pretty fun. So, will you put it in Jello? For an extra 50, sure. I'll put it in Jello. I gotta buy the Jello. You'll put it on WikiFeet? Well, I feel like that's copyright, right? You can't just put it on WikiFeet. Don't I have it copywritten? Don't I own my feet? I'm so scared to change songs because I know it's going to be not, or it's going to be copyright. Dollar Dylan with the $10. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Super nice of you. Now I'm hoping that changes the studio tour, but obviously not. And of course the alerts didn't work because why would they? God, man. I spend so much time to set this crap up and it just doesn't work. There should be a huge celebration right here and I test it beforehand and it doesn't show up. I'm so angry. Thank you, Dylan. I appreciate that. I will fix all of that right now. Actually, I think I can do it right now. I just don't get it. Like I will test it beforehand and it's like, yeah, it works. Everything works. And then and then the stream happens and it doesn't work. Oh, I think it's because this is a tip goal and not necessarily a super chat goal. But what is the difference, man? It's the same thing. I'm so annoyed, man. I hate the streaming stuff on the back end because it just doesn't work. Thank you, Dylan. I appreciate it, man. And I want to give you your alert. And this I know I can do. Here. This I can do. I'm going to get you your alert right now. I'm going to mute this. I'm going to go here. And we're going to emulate. We're going to hit super chat. And it's $10. Hell yeah. Thank you. You told me the wrong thing. I know, it's my fault. Is there a difference between super chatting and tipping? Is there a tip button and a super chat? How are they not the same thing? Super stickers, super chat. I don't think there is a tip. I think tipping is a separate thing. So that might be on me. Wait, huh? Oh, this one. But it's okay. You got the alert. I appreciate it. And I'll fix the goal. Okay, let's see. Alerts, no labels. Oh, super chats, goals. Okay. This was on me. This was on me, guys. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. And because we already got the first $10, I'm going to set it to 40 now. So thank you, Dylan, for getting us started. That was super nice of you. And again, guys, if you, I know I run a budget channel. If you are struggling with money, don't give money. Don't give money to anyone. Like, I don't know how else I can say that, but just don't. Um, if the tier list includes old architectures, the RTX 3070 gives a lot of performance for the money. Yeah, so we'll get into the architecture. I don't want to go back all the way. Like I truly don't. So what I'm doing is the tier list will only be from 2017 to now, which I feel like so it's 9 years. It is just the right amount of time where there are cards in there where I think, you know what, maybe it's actually worth buying today to put into a computer. Not all of them, obviously, but I think anything older than that, I think it's not e-waste, obviously, but it's like just old enough where I'm like, you know what, if you have the money, I don't think it's worth buying today, even if it was pretty good at the time. And I also just don't have as much experience with cards older than that. I'd say from that era, from like the 2013 to 2017 era, I know a little bit, but not super big. Oh, it worked! That's exciting. Thank you, Grimlong. Appreciate it. $20 from Grimlong. Thanks, man. Hell yeah. And it worked. We saw the alert. I think I have to hit refresh. Oh damn it. This means I actually have to do the tour soon. Damn it. Uh shit, that's gonna be so much work. That's okay. Um thank you, Grimlong, thank you, Dylan. Appreciate it, guys. Super nice of you. Um I think I have to hit like refresh. And I think that was the problem before that in the thing there's like a thing that says refresh browser when it becomes active, and if you don't refresh it, it doesn't work. I think that was it. Here, let me finish this. Layers. Delete you. And I can. Well, if that means we only need. Oh damn it! That means we only need $20 more. Why does it say 125.24? That's strange. You'll get to see my shaky toy collection. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. I'm so glad I turned off the music because my YouTube auto played to an American Dad song that is almost certainly copywritten. And I'm so glad I muted the music because it didn't come up on stream. It'd be really funny. Don't get me wrong. Uh, just some random American Dad song. Okay, 1 second, guys. 1 second. I don't know why it says 125.24. There's nothing about this that's 125. What the heck is going on? See that? I just changed it to super chats, but it says 125.24. What is that? What is that from? Oh, now it's not even changing. Screw you, Grimlong, up one-upping me, guys. It's not about one-upping. Uh, whatever, dude. Okay, it's at 20. It'll go up. I don't ignore this. I don't know what this is. I'm very annoyed by that. What is that? Nothing about this is 125.24. That might be the total amount of super chats I've ever gotten on YouTube. If I had to think, like overall, probably yeah, 125 over like 4 years. That sounds about right. But why is it here? Text settings. Who would donate 24 cents? Oh well, I'm just gonna leave it. So NVIDIA 1000 series and up, then Radeon 500 series and up. Yeah, precisely, Reluctant Hero. That's pretty much how it's gonna be. Mm-hmm. So bought the dock you suggested. Nice. Got a great deal for a 27-inch Kurui 1440p monitor with great refresh and etc. Nice. Those are very affordable monitors with not too bad panels. Pretty good. I used it as an excuse to buy myself one. Now I am rolling with two 27-inch monitors on the grandma desk. How do you fit all of that on that tiny thing? That desk, I don't know how you do it, man. I just need so much more room. I mean, it is a grandma desk. It certainly is. It's the kind of desk my grandma would use. That's crazy. But if you're loving it, you're loving it. Very cool. So wait, because you're using a desktop. So, I mean, you bought the dock for your son, right? But you said you use an excuse to buy yourself one. So wait, did you bought your son a dock, but then used the timing as an excuse to buy yourself a monitor, right? So now you have two monitors. Is that accurate? Because I know you use a desktop. It's the kind of thing I'm known for. Grimlong, you're also known for what is it called? Oh hell yeah! Reluctant Hero with the $4.99 says, "I got you, Dylan. I'll -1 up you." But dude, it didn't work. Look at this. What is going on here? So it went from 125. So that is right. This is the amount of super chats I've ever received on YouTube. But what are we doing? Why is it using that number? Why would it not use the number we're using today? See, this is the problem. Thank you, Reluctant Hero, first of all. Appreciate it. But what are we doing? Twitch has this stuff down, man. It just pulled that number out of its ass. Nothing about this says 130. Okay, wait. Maybe if I set it to... That's so stupid that I have to do this, but... Okay, here we go. Okay, so I changed it to 150. Oh no, it needs to be so he put in another 4.99. So we need 15, not 20. So this should be 145, which is so stupid. I'll figure this out next time. I'm very mad about it. But thank you everyone who donated. Appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. And yeah, I guess we'll probably hit that later. It's awesome. Appreciate it, guys. That's a real G move, doing the -1. Yeah, I had a Kurui 1080p monitor. I bought two of the 27-inch, and then I gave him the smaller one for a secondary monitor. Very cool. Congratulations, man. That's great. You would think a world-famous YouTuber would know how to use YouTube. You would think that, wouldn't you? It's a good thing I'm not a world-famous YouTuber. Well, it's funny because this is not YouTube. This is Stream Elements. This is through a third party, and it works really well on Twitch. The integration for like throwing money at streamers is just perfection on Twitch. It just works. They even have the alerts built in if you want. But on YouTube, I don't know. It just doesn't handle super chat right. Why is this using an overall? It's just so stupid. Next time I'm gonna put tip, and then it's actually gonna be tip, because the fact that I have to update this. Why? Why would it just show the overall number you've ever made? That makes no sense. How is that helpful? And I wonder if it's something I did, like truly. I don't think so. Condensed. No, it's very stupid. And to 10 minutes ago, that it didn't. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out later. It's just so annoyed. I can center it. Oh well. Don't center it. Don't center it. Oh, it centered it. Looks like we raised $145. Great job, guys. Yeah, it does. Thanks, guys. So yeah, the whole point of this is like, I want to do more streams, but I want to be motivated to do more streams, and I want the streams to be good. That's it. So like, I want to create a self-sustaining circle where it's not just me bullshitting on the mic for 2 hours. It's like, hey, here's a thing. If you guys want this, donate the money. And that'll motivate it. And it'll be something a little bit better. And if people don't donate to it, that means it's a bad idea and it needs to get nixed. You know what I mean? So it's like a perfect system for this extra. Streams are extra bonus content, obviously. The normal videos will continue. Bro, the Toasty Bros couldn't figure out the channel 3/4 thing for old coax video games, so nothing surprises me now. Wow, they are young. Oh, no. Yeah, they're a little too young, huh? That's funny. Well, that's I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's like that's a very specific thing that only certain people would know. I did not think they were that young. I have a niece who's like 19 who probably like they grew up with VCRs. I don't understand. They're not that young. Interesting. What were they doing? Let me see. Is that like an old console or something? Oh, yeah, that's exactly what it was. We bought the oldest game console we could find. That's fun. Oh man, they did a video on the ROG Xbox Ally. That's cool. My video, you know what's funny? I made a video on it. I did a review a while ago, last year. And it was okay when it came out. But then after the Steam Deck prices went up, that video started to get more traction out of nowhere, which is pretty cool. So like people started looking at the alternatives. Ew, they're using AI in their thumbnails now. Toasty Bros, come on, man. That looks ugly. The other ones look good. I don't know how they do a video a day, man. There's not enough ideas in the world. Every PC gamer should own this $100 tablet. Here's why. Man, they literally do like 5 videos a week. It's cool to create a channel that can do that and like be a part of someone's schedule. It's like, hey, every morning I wake up, watch a Toasty Bros vid. You know what I mean? And it's like you become a part of their schedule. And so like even if the videos, you know, aren't the best, which I'm not saying Toasties isn't. I'm saying if it was another channel who made like subpar content, the fact that you're doing it every day and you become part of someone's schedule, that's pretty cool. Half of them are just we built a budget PC. Yeah, but a lot of them aren't even budget PCs. This one is $2,700 pre-built. Oh, it's a pre-built. How to build the best perfect high-end. Hmm. I like most of their thumbnails. I think Zach does a good job, but they need to take more photos of themselves. I hate seeing the same Matt's face in every single one. I swear, like he took one photo in 2019 and they've been using it since. Like just not too hard to take a couple extra photos, guys. We can do it. Okay, let's get into the tier list. Let me put on a music that won't just fail. Although I think it will, and I'm worried. Maybe we don't need music. Ooh, maybe I can clip this later. Okay. I mean, I need music. Hold on. So, as I was saying earlier, this tier list is not, I know I put in the title, it's objective. It's a joke. It's not actually objective. From Pascal and Polaris to now. Yes. When in the CPU tier list? I mean, if we want to do a CPU tier list in the future, I'd be down for that. Maybe we can do that after the office tour. If this one, let's see how this one goes. We will never come to a full consensus. So we just, oh crap. So we'll just agree on that we will never officially come to 100% full consensus. Just know, and when we're talking about what makes a good card, we're going to talk about the value of when it came out, the value it provides now, the value it did in between, kind of like the features it brought to the table, just all of it, right? We're not saying, well, this was the best card when it came out and now it's dog shit, put it in D tier. No, like that's a good middle ground, dude. You know what I mean? Like we need to think about it that way. Off the bat, I'm going to take some of these cards off because I am not too familiar with them. So I don't want to give out some information that I don't believe personally. And I know some of y'all might not like this because y'all have some good insight, specifically about the 460, 470, 480 from AMD. I have used a 480 in the past, but I feel like I don't know enough information about these series. I kind of wasn't into AMD at the time, so I have not really given them that much thought or that much to look at. So we're not going to rank them today unless people can give a good enough answers after we do everything else. So don't worry about those right now. Okay. But everything else on this list, I think we should be good to go. Let's see. Wait, the RX 5600. Yep. I forget the 5600 XT exists sometimes. We might need to look at some prices. Okay, but off the bat, what card do y'all think deserves to be S tier? So let's just start it like this. This is how we're going to do this. What card do y'all think belongs in S tier off the bat? Like you think a card, you go boom, S tier. Let's get some suggestions in the chat, and then we'll start from there. Let's just go straight to the top, and then we'll do the bottom, and then we'll kind of figure out the middles. And we will never all agree, but I will be the medium, and ultimately, this is my tier list, so I'm going to make the choice. So if a lot of people are saying B and A, and ultimately I think A, it's going to go in A. That's just how it is. Make your own tier list. But if you ought to think of an S, like that's an S tier. Super, super. Grimlong says 3080 Ti. Okay. Now, see, off the bat, I don't think it's S tier. RTX 4080 Super. Mr. CND, what's up, man? I don't know if I said hi to you earlier. My bad. And we're making based on value. So this is going to be on everything, GJ Cool. This is going to be on value when it came out, value now, the features it brought to the table, its popularity, do all of it together. Mixed all of it. And if you think something was so legendary when it came out that it deserves an S tier, that's okay too. It's going to be subjective to you. If you think value is the most important thing when it comes to a graphics card, then that you hold a lot of weight in that, right? You would put it in S tier, and that's okay. We're going to take in all of our collective minds and try to find places for all of these cards. Having said that, there's a lot of cards on here, so we're going to try to go a little bit fast because I don't want to stream for hours and hours and hours. Dollar Dylan says RTX 3060 12 gig is still kicking and is being re-released. S tier. That's true. The card's so good that it got re-released 5 years later. Reluctant Hero says, I've never even owned one, but I'll say the 1080 Ti for NVIDIA is S tier. Then RX 9070, 9070 XT for AMD are S tier. Okay. 9060 XT. Still have my 36 gig, 12 gig. Awesome. Also GTX 1660 Super, an absolute legend. You know what? During when the 16 series was out, I swear there were many people I met in real life. This was before I was a creator, who were saying, "Hey, I'm buying a pre-built. Here's what's in it. Is it good?" And so many people had 1660 Supers in them. It was such a popular card to put into pre-built at the time that, man, it was so popular. I don't know anyone who used it who were like I bought this on its own. It was always pre-built people, which doesn't necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, I was surprised how popular that thing got in the pre-built world. Okay, I'm going to start the 3060. I agree with y'all. I think the 3060 12 gig, it doesn't have the 12 or 8 gig variant, so we're just going to assume 12, okay? 8 gig, it would go into D, sorry. The 3060 12 gig, I agree. I think when it came out, we're going to forget the GPU shortages happened, the fiasco. Let's pretend that didn't happen, okay? That's not really their fault. When it came out, it was pretty good value. It is such a good value that it holds steady at around $180 to $220 for like the last 3 years. That is a very good number. It can just be flat for so long. I think this card is only now starting to show some age after 5 years, which is pretty good considering it's a 60 series card. I think the fact that it had 12 gigs of RAM was amazing for an entry level card like that. We haven't seen anything since then be like that. If of any of the 60 level cards here, I would say the 3060 does belong to be in the highest. If I had to choose, I think it still gets the job done, and I think the value today is still pretty good. I think if someone came to me and said, should I buy a 3060? I think it's not a bad idea. It's got DLSS. It's got all those NVIDIA features on it, even though it's cheaper. You can get them for $180 now. But it's either an S or an A for me. And I'm trying to think of reasons to put it into A because I don't know. Why wouldn't I put an S? But it's definitely A or S. Shin Laser says RTX 3060 12 gig gets the job done, even at 1440p with DLSS in many games. Very true. Okay, I'm just gonna make a decision. I personally love the 3060. I've used it in so many videos. I think it's an S. I think it's a great card. I think it was a great value for a long time, and the fact that it's still pretty good now to this day is awesome. It's still got mesh shaders. You can do anything with it. It's not outdated. Pretty good. So I'm gonna say yes. Yes, Dylan is correct. You can play Indiana Jones on the 3060, meaning it has ray tracing and mesh shaders and stuff. So that's good. I will say if it didn't, it would go an A. If it wasn't able to play Indiana Jones, I would say A. But I'm going to put an S because I like it a lot. Talking about the 1080 Ti, yeah, people, for the young bloods in the chat, people generally think the GTX 1080 Ti was kind of a legendary card. I owned one at the time. It was very good. It came out at a time where it was, I would say, the first high-end GPU that people felt like this was next level at a price that wasn't $1,000, $2,000. You know what I mean? This was before we had 5090s and NVIDIA found out they can charge whatever they want. So the 1080 Ti is legendary in the fact that it had, how much RAM did it have? 11 gigs, I think, maybe 10. I think 11. And it was really good, I'll admit. It's not a 4K card in what we would call it, but at the time, a lot of people, it was like a 1440p really good card at the time where most people were playing in 1080. So it was powerful. And I would say tit for tat, the 3060 and the 1080 Ti were pretty on par in a lot of ways. So I would say 1080 Ti was pretty good, I will say. Grimlong says the current fanboys in like the LTT Discord ruined the 1080 Ti for me. They still tell people to get one now. Yeah, I wouldn't tell people to get one now. That's where I draw the line. It was awesome at the time. It was awesome for years. But frankly, I wouldn't tell people to get it now. The GTX 1080 Ti is widely considered as the greatest graphics card of all time. It really is, yeah. A lot of people do believe that. 1080 Ti would still be strong if NVIDIA hadn't cut driver support last fall. That's true. I think it would still be a pretty strong contender. Man, I think because it had its support cut, if this was a year ago, I'd put it in S, but now it's got to be A, right? Like it doesn't have support anymore. That doesn't mean it's a bad card. It just means that, hey, eventually all kings will fall. So I will put it in A. I thought it was a great card too. Yeah, it was the first time a lot of people and got to experience what the highest end PC could handle, and so I think it affected a lot of people. So I'll put an A. 1660 is one I'd agree with. 1660 Super is still an amazing entry level GPU. Really? Do people really like the 1660 Super that much? I'll admit I've wait, the 1660s aren't on here. Sorry guys. This completely skipped over the 16 series. Interesting. Sorry guys. I don't know why. Probably because it was that mid-range release, but I mean, it still belongs to be on here. What the heck? Huh. That's pretty silly. It really should be on here. But okay, I guess we're just doing what's on this list. It'll be a sad day when NVIDIA cuts the 6060 cards from driver support. Very true. Upgrading from a 970 to 6060 was life-changing for me. Oh, yeah. I had a 970 for a long time. I bought my 970 in 2014, I think. Yeah. I bought it with the 4790K, I believe. Guys, AMD reinstated driver support until GNC RX 4XX. It's crazy. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I'll have to look that up. 2080 Ti, Stank says. Okay. 2080 Ti, okay, like I'll be honest, I have a bias against the entire 20 series. To me, when the 20 series came out, it was just the 10 series, but with the ray tracing. Yay. And the performance was not that much better, but they were requesting a lot more money. So I have an extreme bias towards the 20 series. I don't think they were great when they came out. Having said that, over time, their value has gone up as the used market has come in. I think a lot of them used now might actually be pretty good. The 2080 Ti, I don't see a world where that is worth the money compared to a newer card. It is just old enough where I'm like, what is the point, right? I don't think it's strong enough to warrant the high price. The 2080 Super, I believe, is a little bit more on par with what I would call for value. But again, it's all going to come down. If you come in here and you say, well, I got a 2080 Ti for $200, it's like, well, not everyone can do that. You would probably rank it much higher, right? So for me, I'm going to go 2080 Ti within the C. I think it's too expensive now. I think it was too expensive then. And I think that there's just better stuff out there for a cheaper price. I would rather have a weaker card than I would rather have a 3070 than a 2080 Ti. And it's just because it's in that weird spot where it was high end at the time, but now newer stuff comes in that's cheaper and better. There's just, it kind of pops off the top end portions of the tier list, unfortunately. It's just how it works. NVIDIA created a problem and sold the solution. Pretty much, yeah. Titan isn't on here either. Yeah, a couple of cards aren't on here. So we'll do what we can. But there's many of these lists. I did not make them. It would take way too long to make all these little icons. But I liked this one. I thought it was easy to see on stream. So I wanted us to use this one. But we'll keep it at that. Yeah. So 2080 Ti C tier. Not a horrible card, but just the value's not there. If it was $100 cheaper, it would probably be an S tier. But you can say that about any of the cards, right? If all of these cards were $100 cheaper, they'd all go up a rank or two. Having said that, I did a video on the 2070 Super. Now, the 2070 Super, you can get these days for around, I want to say 140, 150. I think that's pretty good value for people who don't have much money. My previous recommendation was the 5700 XT at that price point, but I think the 2070 Super is a better card overall, just because of the NVIDIA features. I think I really do love NVENC. I love CUDA. I love all that stuff. Even if you're only gaming, having this stuff on board for when you eventually do something more. That might be the video editor in me, it might be the streamer in me. I think those are valuable features, and I like DLSS more than I like FSR. I'm going to put 2070 Super in A tier because of the used value, not necessarily because of the brand new value. I think it's pretty good. And other cards that are in line with that is the RTX 3050. And I know this because I did a video on it recently. The 3050, when it came out, was overpriced. It's overpriced now. The die size is too small. The power is not enough. And it just simply is not much. Is it the worst card in the world? No, but the value is just not there. And so I'm considering between C and D tier. Do I want to put the 3050 in D tier? Do I truly believe the value? Yeah, I do. And it's because there are so many cards that occupy the same space that just do it better. The 2070 Super, the 5700 XT, the RX 6600 XT, 6600, no, just the 6600 in general. They all are on the same price point and they're all just better. So there's just no point to put into C. If it was the only NVIDIA card at that price point, I would maybe put it in C. But because the 2070 Super exists, I can't do it. RTX 3050, very underrated. I believe it's B tier. Shin Laser says it's true. Okay. I don't. I think you have to consider the SSF build with the 3050 as king. I mean, how small are we talking? Are we talking single slot? Is that the issue? Because we have, I agree, GPU manufacturers have completely deleted the SFF form factor. They can do like one fan cards and that's it. We don't really see single slot cards that often, but single slot is generally only for putting into like office PCs these days. So I don't know. I just think there are better cards, even the used ones for, I think if you want to go small form factor, you are expecting to pay a little bit extra. And yeah, office PC, yeah, single slot like the Yeston, yes. I think if you want to make a small form factor PC, you are expecting to pay a little bit more money. And I think there are better single slot cards that you should pay a little bit more money for. I'm appreciative that the 3050 had a single slot version. I know there's not much out there, but overall, that's not enough to bump it up to B tier for me. I think it's not an F. I'm not saying F at all. No way. But because there are so many cards that I would rather have over it, to me, it just has to stay in D, and all those other ones have to go above it. Can I do a 4080 Super? So 4080 Super, I will say the 4080 Super will rank above the 4080. That's just how it is. So we'll do both of them at the same time. The 4080 Super, man, everyone hates these cards, man. That's the problem, man. It's like the 20 series and the 40 series, I feel like just they get a lot of hate, whether it's warranted or not, compared to the ones before and after it. And the whole 40 series, people did not like until the Super came out, because the Supers came out and they were better priced and more powerful. So it's like that just, you made all your other cards bullcrap. So, and the 4080 Super was the last, wait, no, 4080 Super was $1,000. It's the same as the 5080. So it became invalidated within a year, right? Because if you have a 4080, like once it came out and then within a year, the 5080 was announced. So it was the same price. So it's like, what was the point of buying the 4080 Super anymore? It was only a card for a year. And I feel like cards should have more validation, more time than that. You shouldn't get replaced in a year by something that's just better in every way. At least C tier, come on. No, 3050 stays down there. I'm sure there's a Tesla card that beats it, for sure. What single slot card is better? The only one that close is the 6400. Isn't there a single slot 4060 or something? There's some weird single slot one for a 40 card. I can't remember. Or it might even be a 5060, actually. There is some. Dude, I got NVIDIA GT 710. That's not on the list. Sorry, man. But you know I put in triple S tier. So for the 4080 Super, it's not a bad card. I just think it just got replaced too quickly. I think it was it came out very quickly. So I will put it above the 4080. So I'm going to put the 4080 Super in B because, hey, it kept people from buying a 4090 at least. And I'll put the 4080 in C. Not bad cards, very powerful. I think the value is just not there. And even in the used market today, I don't think the market isn't there. It isn't half height. It won't fit. I know, but there's just like no one's really buying a single slot card, man. That is such a small niche segment. I just don't think. I think if this was a small form factor single slot card GPU tier list, yeah, it would probably be an S tier. Unfortunately, it's just that's such a small segment of people that it's just not worth in my eyes to bump it up a whole grade. I feel the way you feel about the 20 series with the 40 series. Yeah, I mean, I think the 40 series I like a little bit more than the 20 series, but it's not by much. And it's the same with the 4070 Super and the 4070. Oh yeah, like what was this? Hey, do you want a 4070 or a 4070 Ti or the 4070 Ti Super or the 4070 Super? They can all go in the garbage. I thought you were a budget baller. I feel betrayed. I am a budget baller, but I'm not like just one slot cards don't appeal to me, man. I just think it's too much of a niche. It's a niche of a niche that I don't think it makes it worthy of going up. Now, people look at this and they go, wait, Jason put 3050 in D tier. That means if he saw a PC with it, he thinks it's trash. No, that is not true. If the 3050 was $20 to $30 cheaper in the used market, it would probably go up to a C tier. And if it was $50 cheaper, it'd go up to a B tier. That's how easy it is, guys. But I know the small form factor ones are even more expensive. So I just think, I don't know, it's too much of a niche. RTX 3050 is 170 used on eBay. Yeah, not good for the money. 170, you can get a 6600 XT, 47% more performance. Pretty much, yeah. Because there exists too many options against 3050 at the same price point, it's hard to justify it. 5050 C tier. I don't have much experience with the RTX 5050, I'll be honest. I've never tested it. I don't know much about it, so I will let y'all guide the 5050 discussion. As far as I'm concerned, there has not been a good 50 series card since like the 1050 Ti, which I think was pretty good. Everything since then, even the ones in like laptops, like the 2050, I just don't think it's there. They're basically just bin down versions of the 60s, and just I don't know, man. But I really don't know the 5050. So if anyone in the chat has expertise with it, let us know. I'll let y'all guide it. Where should the 5050 go? Dylan is saying C tier. I don't even know how much the 5050 costs, to be honest. Guys, y'all see my shirt? It's the save button on forms and documents. Remember when you go and you click the save button? See that? Does anyone have an Xbox Game Pass account I can use for cloud gaming, please? Yeah, does anybody want to give their account to Alvin for free? Yeah, you just give him your account. He can play cloud gaming for free. In fact, does anybody want to give him some free hardware? Maybe just send him a computer for free. Does anyone have a free computer that they can send to Alvin? Okay, while y'all think about the 50-50 discussion, I will move on to another card that's pretty popular, the 6700 XT. So 6700 XT, when it came out, was a pretty good value. It really was. And it has stayed a good value throughout the used market. I would say it also has stayed the same price for like 3 years now, which is a little absurd. It's been about at that 250 range for 3 years almost, which is nuts. That's how you know a card is good. I think it is right on the cusp of being like entry level 1440p or like really good 1080p and for a really good price. And it's got a lot of VRAM for that price. I just realized there's no Intel cards on here either. Dang. Can I add some more? Maybe we should add some. Yeah, that sucks. Oh well. Sorry, Intel. Sorry, Intel. So we'll pretend the B580 doesn't exist, but 6700 XT staying true at 250. I don't want to put it S tier. I don't think it's S tier. I think it's if it was S tier, it'd be a little cheaper. I will give the 6700 XT an A rating. I believe it is a good card even to this day. I think we are going to start seeing it falling off in the next year. I think it's kind of hitting its peak soon. That doesn't mean it's like, okay, get it out of your system. I just mean we're going to start seeing less and less people start to use it and stop recommending it. Dude, the ARC B580 is the GOAT. I would put it in here. Yeah, it's pretty good. But I think the 6700 XT at A is a good thing. If it was a little cheaper, I would probably put it at S, but I think A is a good round. Let's do a few AMD cards. We have all the NVIDIA ones. I didn't realize how much more. NVIDIA will make several versions of each card. AMD doesn't do that as much. Let's do the RTX 5050 is at RTX 4060 in performance, basically. Is it? Okay. Well, what's the prices? And they have the same price used? Huh. Okay. I think I'll mull that over. Let me do the cards, the AMD cards that I said were in line with the 2070 Super. The 6600, I think, was a really good price for a long time, and it's come down in price. You can get a 6600 for like 140, maybe 130 if you're lucky. I think it's a good value card. If it was any more expensive, it would not be worth it. Truly, it's because the price keeps coming down and down. I think it's an A tier. Not when it came out, but since then, the price just goes down and down and down and down, which is awesome. So the fact that this card keeps losing value, or no, sorry, not value, has lost price means it increases its value. And I think that's great. It's not a super strong card, but if for entry level 1080p stuff for someone on a used hyper budget, I think it is amazing this year. I think the 6600 is pretty good, and I think the 6600 XT is right behind it. Oh, that's not right. 6600, where'd it go? I'll put it in the B tier. I think I personally, if it was between me, if it was only a little bit more money, I would buy the 6600 XT over the 6600. But I don't think most people should. I think if they're at that low of a budget, I think they should just stick to the 6600. It's a really, really good deal on the very low end. The RTX 5050 has the better DLSS. Yeah, it's newer. Makes sense. It's probably got access to DLSS 4. Okay, another one. Let's do the RX 580. So the RX 580, when it first came out, was kind of like the 1080 Ti of AMD world, in the sense that it was like their higher end model, except for the 590, which no one bought. It was their higher end model with 8 gigs of RAM that was actually affordable. A lot of people bought the RX 580, like they did up front. It was very popular. It was the card you wanted when you wanted to get a big card for a lower cost. It wasn't as powerful as like a 1080 Ti. I wouldn't even call it a big card, but it was their bigger card that wasn't as power hungry as like the 590. And then obviously the cryptocurrency stuff happened, and they made a shit ton of these, and they sold a lot of them. and then everyone started bailing on them. So the 580 has been a $50 or $60 card for like 4 years, I'd say, maybe more like 3. And obviously, I can't recommend it to most people today. I just can't. But I think its value during those years kind of puts it in legendary status. They made so many of them. They were so affordable in the used market. I could see someone buying it for $60 4 years ago and just coasting at 1080p. No problem. So it's not going to go in S tier because, like I said, it's been the same value for so long. It's hit its ceiling. It's hit its floor. I mean, not ceiling, in terms of price. I don't think it'll ever go cheaper than $50. But I think the value was there for used people for so long. I'm going to put it in A tier. Yeah, A tier. Not a recommendation from me anymore if you have any money whatsoever, but I think it's still a great card. And if you still have it in your system, I think it's still valuable. I think it'll be okay. You can weather a little bit longer. It's no big deal. RX 580 versus GTX 1060 equal eternal rivals. That's a good thing too. Yeah, the 1060 and the 580 were very close in terms of value for a long time. When I first started getting into the space 2 years ago, the RX 580 was the card in everyone's budget office PC videos. Yeah, it was so affordable. I'm telling you, for so long, it was the most card you could get for the lowest amount of money. Like, it was great. I mean, truly, it is. If it wasn't so cheap, it would be in B tier. But because there was just so many on the used market, this is going into A. This thing carried so many people for so long. It was so popular, they made the 2048 SP versions. And we're selling those brand new on AliExpress for years. I'm telling you, like, this thing, to me, the 580 is now more legendary status in the used market than the 1080 Ti ever was. It's not anywhere near as powerful as it. It's not like a beefy card, even at the time, even though it's what they said it was. But for the value it brought to the budget world for so long, it's got to go into A tier. I'm coming from the filthy console world. And having said that, the 590, I think if you get the 590, it's just so much more power hungry compared to the 580. And people, for some reason, they try to sell it for like twice the cost of the 580. I don't think it's worth twice the cost. I don't think it's that good. I'm gonna put it in C tier. Not because it's a bad card, but because it's just it was just too expensive for what it was. I don't think people needed anything more for what you got out of it. The diminishing returns on it was just not great. It is what it is. The 570, on the other hand, I will go right in the middle. I think the 570, it's hard to say. I wouldn't say the 570 was a bad value, but in the used market, there was just so many 580s that you'd be stupid to buy a 570. Like, unless it was truly so cheap. But for years, the 570s and the 580s were the exact same price. So like, why would you ever have a 570? But when it first came out, there were people who were buying the 570s, and I think at that time it might have been a good value. But yeah, right now it's never been good since then because of the crypto stuff. So not a bad card, but just caught in a bad situation. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you all this real quick. So I check this out. I bought an SSD, right? NVMe SSD, very small. Here's the packaging it came in. What are we doing? What are we doing? Have some shame. I still the 580 being used in budget gaming build on 2026 YouTube build guides. That's pretty crazy. I made a video about the card a few months ago, but I don't think I would put it into a budget build guide unless it was like truly you have no money and like this is your last option, and you have to have a computer right here, right now. Then, you know, go for it. But if you have any kind of money, I wouldn't. Free helmet, especially in countries where Nvidia cards demand a premium price. Yeah, that's crazy. I agree. I don't know what's going on. What are they thinking? Okay, we got to speed this up. I got about 45 minutes. Um, the 6750 XT came out at the same as the 6700 XT. I think it was a good card too, and I think that if I'm sure a few of you remember this, there was a time where the 6750 XT was on sale brand new from Amazon at the same price or cheaper than the 6700 XT for some reason. Like there were some Amazon Prime days that made them new, and I think AMD cards actually going on sale during sales, unlike Nvidia cards, makes them a better value when they're brand new. I think that's awesome. So the 6750 XT stays up with the 6700 XT, not because of its used value after the fact. I don't think it's dropped in price enough, but when it was new, it kept going on sale, and that was a great banger. It's only a little bit more powerful than the 6700 XT, so the fact that they were trying to get them out the door is awesome. That's pretty much it. Suraj Kumar, what's up, man? Hello, hello. So I'll keep that there. The RX 560, I don't have that much experience with. I think I did a video on it because it was like a $25 card. I don't think it's held up. I don't think it was even good at the time. It was kind of a budget entry card. I'm going to put it in C tier, because at least when it was new, it was an option for people who needed a card brand new. But it has not held its value. And even if you buy it for like $25, it's one of those cards where if you have any more money, just go buy a 580. Like it truly is not worth the small savings you get. Not a bad card, but just severely underpowered. Does not hold up in modern games. Like if you're going in just to play Fortnite, maybe, but it's a tough recommendation. It's really, really low powered. The 550, I don't think I've ever tried that. I'm not gonna rank it. I'm gonna put these together because I just don't know. The 5500 XT and the 5500, not great value. They were horrible when they were brand new. They cost way too much. They came out at a time when there was a GPU shortage, and they're saying buy these $200 something cards for 1080p. I don't know what. They're not great value, and even now they don't hold their value. I think you can buy them for like $100. Even for $100, I don't know if I think they're worth it. They're just kind of nothing. I'm gonna put them both in D tier. I just don't think it's worth it. The value has never been there, and there's never been a time where I recommend them to anyone. Maybe if they were $50 used, I would say, yeah, let's bring them up. That's a good deal. But even at $100, I'm just like, there's just better stuff, man. Like I just wouldn't do it. Just the value is just not there. Let's look at what other D tier stuff is there. There's not much. Let's see. I'm gonna say the 6950 XT goes in D tier. It was a very powerful card. No, I'll put it in C tier. It was a very powerful card, but it's one of those incremental, a little bit more. It was just too much power, too much money, but not enough performance that it's like you're just trying to wring dry the people with too much money. And I'd put it in D tier, but the problem is that it also went on sales during those Prime days, and during Black Friday and stuff. So if I put the 6750 XT higher because of that, I got to give it to the 6950 XT as well. It was a super high-end card for AMD, but unless it was on sale, it hasn't held its value in the used market, and it was only good when it was on sale at the time. So it's going to go in C tier, not D tier. Dylan thinks the 5600 is C tier. Okay. Reluctant Hero says 5500 XT 8 gig is the same performance as the full fat RX 580. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be twice the cost. It came out, it was like AMD trying to get through the GPU shortage by making a card that nobody would want. So like it served a purpose in time to appease people who wanted a brand new card during a shortage, and I get that, but it doesn't make any sense. The 5600 C tier, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that for the 5600 and the 5600 XT. The problem is that these cards weren't bad; they were just outshined a little bit by the higher ones, which we've seen before. They got outshined by the 5700 XT, and they were just kind of like whatever. Not bad cards, but just outshined by the stuff above it. The stuff below it sucked. So the prices are just, that's the problem with AMD cards. Their prices are too similar, too close together, and they go on sale constantly. They get wishy washy and they start going into each other's lanes. And the 5700 XT went on sale so often and was in so many in the used market that it was such a good card. The 5700 XT, if I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, is on par with like a 1080 Ti in most scenarios. Is that wrong? I feel like the 1080 Ti and the 5700 XT were very similar. Obviously, the 1080 Ti has more VRAM, but in a lot of ways, they were pretty similar. And the 5700 XT was always cheaper than the 1080 Ti in the used market. This was flat at like $150 for a long, long time in the used market. And that's, remember I said it's a good sign for value. I think it was a great card for years, right after the shortages. Yeah, I think maybe people don't like this, but I think the 5700 XT has to go into S tier. I think in the used market, the value it brought, and it wasn't like the most budget card. It was actually pretty good entry level 1440p for 150, 140 bucks, even 130 sometimes. That's some good value, man. And so the 5700, the problem is that not a bad card. It was always on sale for the same price as the XT, so no one ever bought it. So I'm just going to put it in A tier. A good card, but it was always the same price. So it's like, what are you going to do? It just simply is worse value than the XT. So we have our second S tier, the 5700 XT. I think it's great. I probably wouldn't recommend it anymore unless, again, you literally only have 150 bucks. But if you have it in your system, I think you're still going to be okay for another year. I've been hankering to get a 5600 XT just to say I have the full RDNA 1 lineup. Nice, dude. You can complete your, yeah, it's like getting all 3 starter Pokemon in Game Boy Red and Blue. Yeah, I need my Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. I have them on my shelf. The RX 5600 and 5600 XT can use int 8 FP16 to upscale FS4. Yeah. Yeah, but I think using FSR, that is a feature that we should say. The problem is that NVIDIA cards can use FSR as well. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say that makes it good. I would say that's a good way to extend the life of the card if you already own it, but I still wouldn't recommend it to anyone. 5700 XT for $100 today is still great value. $100 is amazing value. I don't think you can get it for $100. But if you did, yeah, that's amazing value. I would say if you got it for 130, it's pretty good value. For $100, it's like really good value. Man, that is like $100 for that kind of card for a 1080 Ti level performance. Very, very cool. Okay, Grimlong at the start said 3080 Ti. I think the 3080 Ti came out during the shortages. It was a very powerful card. It had how much VRAM does this have? 12? I think it had 12. I think there was a time early on where the 3080 Ti was only like $100 more than the 3080. And I think that's not a bad deal. But I think the card is a little bit too power hungry these days. And I think there's a lot more options that replaced it at a cheaper rate. So when it came out, I would probably rate it higher. These days, I think the value isn't there anymore. And you're gonna see that going on. That basically all the high end cards get replaced so easily that it kind of loses its value. It's 4K capable, yeah, for sure. The 3080 Ti is a very budget 4K capable card. Um, I think it's a good card, but I think because it's on the high end, for some reason, the high end cards keep their value for longer because people think it's better. Does that make sense? But for me, if you're telling me it's like, hey, do you want to buy a 30 Ti used for X amount, or do you want to buy a new 50 whatever used? I'm like, well, what's better? They go, well, they're the same performance. I'm like, oh, but the new one will be uh, a little bit cheaper sometimes the same price. Have the new features, have lower power usage, be quieter, be cooler for the same or a little bit less money. And so that's what makes like stuff like the 3080 Ti and the 3090 less value over time because of those reasons. So 3080 Ti when it came out was a good, very powerful card. I liked it. I'm going to do all the 30 series right here. I think the 3080 Ti has gone down on my ranking since then. I don't think it's worth that much anymore. I'm going to put it in B just because stuff has came out that has replaced it. If you asked me 2 years ago, it would probably be an A. And because of that, I'm putting the 3090 Ti, in D, and the 3090 in C. 3090 Ti is for people who have too much money and they don't know what to do with it. 3090 is for people who don't want to buy a 3080 Ti because they want to tell people there's a 9 in it. The value is not there in terms of incremental returns. Like, it's just not there. The 3080, I really like the RTX 3080. I think the 3080, in my mind, replaced the 1080 Ti as the GOAT. I think it was a great card. It only had 10 gigs of VRAM, but it had that huge fat bus, right? The bus width was huge compared to the other cards, and that is what pushed frames. Like, that is where it's at. I can forgive it for having less VRAM, but man, that thing is powerful. Still to this day, that thing is sick. I would have no problem putting a 3080 in my machine for what it's worth. It hovered around the $400 mark for a couple years. I think it's finally started to come down around 370, if I remember correctly. I think that's a little bit too much for what it is these days. It's a bit old. Like, it all, just like the 3080 Ti, it did get replaced by some other more recent stuff. But I think at the time and even today, it's a really, really good card. So not an S tier because of that, but I will put it in A tier. I do think the 3080 is an A tier card. 3080 Ti is my favorite card. I got an AIO one for 600 near launch on an open box deal, and it still gets me bricked up when I think about it. That's a really, really good deal. That's a really, really good deal. Yeah, it's a good card, man. That's a very good deal. Was the 10 gig of VRAM ever an issue for you? No, never. People, I think, exaggerate their VRAM issues. The problem is that the 3080 is not a 4K card. It can do 4K and a lot of stuff, but it's primarily a high-end 1440p / entry-level 4K. And for me personally, I never ran into VRAM issues at the time. I think with modern games and released in the last year or two, it might run into some issues where you find some falling off performance, but I have not tested it in a while. Maybe that's my next test. We'll see. But at the time, I think it's great. Yeah, and I think people talk about VRAM like it's such a big deal. I don't think it's as big a deal as people think it is. I think the problem is that if you're buying a card now, you want to worry about the VRAM because you're going to keep the card between 5 and 7 years. Like, most people keep cards for 5 to 7 years. So yes, is it a problem now? No. Will it be in 5 to 7 years? Maybe a little bit, yeah. And that's kind of why people worry about it. I only ever get a VRAM warning at 1440p on my 5060. Yeah, exactly. And that's a 5060, right? Never crashes. Oh yeah, it'll never crash. You just might, it might stutter or not stutter. It might give you reduced frame rate or warnings or whatever. Like, it's fine. I bought a 3080 10 gig on eBay auction this past Thursday for $318 before taxes and shipping. That's a great deal. The EVG FTW3, is that the one with all the RGB on it, the rainbow stuff? That's a great card. Eventually, it'll go to my nephew, but I'll put it through its paces for now. Nice. That's a good deal, man. 318. My 3070 Ti FE runs so hot on some things, but everything I read says that's normal, but still gives me pause. So when you say hot, what do you mean hot? This is something that people talk about. Your cards, your electronics are hot. They are literally creating power, right? It is converting electricity into power. Power creates heat. Heat needs to get exhausted. That is how it works. There is no way it'll ever not be hot. So let's just get that out of the way. So like when someone told me this recently, they're like, hey, I think my computer's getting too hot. And I'm like, why do you say that? Well, when I put my hand next to the fan, it seems pretty hot. Like, yes. That means it's doing its job. It's exhausting. It's exhausting the heat out. It's going to be hot. How we decide if something is actually hot is by looking at the temperatures. And the temperatures are going to tell you if it's too hot. So what we decide is too hot is if something starts to thermal throttle. And thermal throttling means it's getting so hot that the card has told itself, this is too hot for me. I'm going to start shutting down. And generally that happens around 100 degrees Celsius. It's a little bit different depending on the GPU or the CPU, but 100 degrees is a pretty normal. 80 to 85 constant, higher than I was used to previously. Yes. So if you hit, I will say, here's the thing. 100 degrees, yes, that's way too hot. You're going to break your thing. Probably not immediately, but if you're hitting 90 degrees constantly, something is amiss. It's a little bit too warm. Something is going on. It's not going to break. It's not going to shut down, but you are getting kind of close to that tipping point where you don't want to get 90 degrees. 80 to 85, I would say, is in that ballpark where it's like, yes, it's warm, but nothing's going to get damaged. You have nothing to worry about technically. Just like those people said, it is normal. It is hotter than you were used to previously. Then that means that there could be something not broken, something on your card that is creating a little bit more heat than it's supposed to. So if you truly are worried about that, there's an easy fix. You can go into there, get your card out, undo all the little screws, and just like a CPU, there's thermal paste and thermal pads in it. Just make sure none of the thermal pads have shifted, and you can replace the thermal paste. And honestly, if that's the issue, replacing the thermal paste would actually bring you back down closer to 75 to 80. But it's not going to get much better than that. You will never, if you're running it at full blast, like you are maxing that card out in power, it's going to be hard to get any cooler than that. What you can do is, if it's a GPU issue and make sure your fans are spinning, if they're spinning, that's good. Sometimes a fan won't spin. It's under load. If it's just sitting there, don't worry about it. Make sure your case is pushing out. Make sure those fans, because that air has to go somewhere. You have to get it out. You have to get it out of your case. Make sure all of your case fans are actually working. Make sure you have them in the right orientation. Make sure you have some intakes. Make sure you have some exhaust, because that GPU heat has to get out. So can it come from within? Yes, but you also need to make sure the environment it's in. And also, Mr. Shy Guy, I'm pretty sure you live in Texas still. It's hot here. Things are going to get hot. The ambient temperature in your room is going to affect your GPU as well. Even if you're sitting in an air-conditioned room at about 77 degrees, that computer is working extra hard to convert that air. Okay? So I know it might seem, I'm not saying turn on your AC to make your computer work better, but I'm just saying things get hot and it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it until you start hitting 90. And if you're really worried about it, you can do one of two things. You can go in and clean the thermal paste, which is about a 30-minute fix. It's not that difficult to do. Or you can do what GJ Cool is saying, and you can undervolt it. And so by undervolting it, you can cut 10% of the power of the card. And what that does sounds like you're going to lose 10% frames. That's not true. What usually ends up happening is you actually get more performance, because you are focusing less on the power of the card and it's allowing itself to heat up more because it's not taking in as much power, so that you can get extra frames out of that power. And undervolting is generally done in the software. You don't have to go through your BIOS or whatever. You just download the AMD software, you download the NVIDIA software, and you just run undervolt. You can look up guides online. You can undervolt it by like 10% and you'll probably get better frames and the temperatures will come down. Now, if you really want to do work, do all of the things I just said. Do all of them. I guarantee you'll get more frames, you'll get less heat, you'll get better performance, everything will be golden, but it just depends on how much work you want to put into it. And if you do all of that and it's still running at 80 to 85 to 90, then you might have an issue. Because after undervolting, if it's really running up to 85 to 90 degrees, I would be worried. Oh yeah, absolutely correct. Warmth in the room. I'll try undervolting. Thanks. Yeah, for sure, man. But yeah, speaking as someone from Texas as well, I'm telling you, my computer runs worse in the summer. It just does. It's hot in the room. You're putting more heat into your room. Your AC is having to overcompensate to try to make up for it. It sucks. It's a bad system, but it's how we got to do it. So I would say that's just kind of how it works. But don't worry. I'm using you as an example because I get a lot of comments like this. People are just worried about heat. And I'm glad you had numbers to back it up because a lot of people don't. They just say it just feels hot. And like, what does hot mean to you? Electronics can exist in temperatures far above what humans find comfortable, right? Are you going to sit in a room that's 90 degrees Celsius? Oh my God, no, you will probably die. Electronics can. They can handle it. It's designed that way. So don't worry too much about it. Don't go crazy thinking about it. But undervolting is a good start, and it's not going to hurt your card at all. It's actually going to make it run better. You look like Shigechi. I don't know who that is. But okay, let's finish up this card. Oh, and if y'all are new here, if you're watching, we are doing a super chat goal for a live studio tour. It should say 135. We need $15 more. If we get $15 more donated through super chat, don't do tips, don't do any of that. You'll get a little alert that says you're awesome, and we will do a live studio tour next week, same time. So I'm going to go through this whole room, each and everything, show you every nook and cranny and why I chose it. It'll be a good time. And if we don't hit it today, the goal will keep running next week, if that makes sense. Yeah. I wouldn't sit in a 30-degree room. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's tough. But people, if you put your hand on your computer, it's going to be hot. It's always hot. People are especially nervous about this when it comes to their Steam Decks and stuff. Like so many times, I made a whole video about it that got 50,000 views that people still don't listen. Basically, they're like, my Steam Deck feels hot. And like, why do you say that? It feels hot when I put my hand on it. I'm like, okay, well, what are the temperatures? It's about 80 to 85 degrees. I'm like, yeah, it's a Steam Deck. Look how small it is. It's going to be hot. Like that, it's designed that way. Valve knows what they're doing. They know it was going to get hot. They encountered that. They know. And they changed things to make it run that it's going to be perfectly at that temperature. Like, well, what if I put a fan on it? I'm like, but that's not going to help. You're just blowing more hot air through it. You're actually creating a convection oven. Yeah, but I still think I'm going to do it. You know how many viewers commented after I told them being a fan for their Steam Deck was a scam that they were still going to do it? Because it just made them feel good. It makes people feel good that they're putting something towards it. Like, oh, well, I'm just going to do it because it feels good. And at least if it breaks, I'll know it wasn't my fault. Like, it's not your fault either way, bro. If the Steam Deck's broken, it's broken. Anyone else sniff the warm air coming out of the Steam Deck? I have, actually, unfortunately. It smells like burning plastic. The 1050, let's go back to NVIDIA for a little bit. The 1050 I thought was a whatever card. For the price, it was fine. I'm going to put it in D, but then I'm going to put the 1050 Ti in B. These aren't great cards, but at the time, they were like some of the only affordable options. And in the used market, they lasted a long time. And for Dylan, these were small form factor single slot cards as well. I have a very, very tiny. They didn't take any external power. They didn't really have a lot of VRAM. They're not valuable anymore, but maybe I put them lower. You shouldn't be using these cards anymore. At the time, it was worthy. It was worthy. Not wrong on the Steam Deck. I agree. That's why I said it. Let's see. The 1060, I liked the 1060 for a while, and I thought I think it was a little bit overpriced in the used market for too long. But it was at one point the most popular card in the world. So many people bought this thing. If I put the RX 580 in A tier, I would put the 1060 in B tier. Mostly because it only had 6 gigs of VRAM, which isn't the end of the world, but an alternative existed that was 8. And the 1060 never got that huge price drop that the 580 got. So it was very rare when I tell people buy a 1060 over the 580. It was a nice card. I think it was okay at the time. It doesn't really hold up anymore, unfortunately. Yeah, that's unfortunate. The 1070, though, I think the 1070. Where's the 1080? Dude, they just left off cards on this. I don't understand. Okay, I see the 1080 Ti. Did I do the 1080 already? So look, they put the 1080 on this list, or the 1080 Ti on this list, but not the 1080. Why? This is so strange. Did I move it? Oh yeah, it's over here now. Okay. Forget. Ignore that. Let's do some of these early ones. 1070 Ti. Okay, I liked the 1070 when it came out. I think it's pretty good. It was a good replacement for the 970, which was legendary. And I think the 1070 now is about as cheap of a card as I would recommend to people. Like if they truly didn't have any money, I would say maybe a 1070 or 1070 Ti. I will also, I don't want to put an A tier. I don't think it deserves A tier. I'm going to put all of these in B tier, man. Like they were fine for the time. They kept a good price. You can get 1080s for like $100 now. The problem is that you can also get 1070s for $100. You can get 1070 Ti's for $100. Like they've all kind of stayed the same. So it's like, what's the point if they're all going to be the same price? So I can't put any of them higher or lower. I suppose that makes the 1080 a better value. Maybe I'll put it up here just because of the used market. But I don't know. Yeah. See, there's a lesson here. Reading is fundamental. Got to go to W stream. Thanks, Alvin. See you later, man. Hope you get your cloud account. For the 2050, this is a laptop GPU. I don't think I experienced it, but I don't think it was very good. It's kind of like the thing they put in Walmart laptops nowadays. So like at the time, it was put into normal laptops, but nowadays you can actually get laptops from Walmart brand new that still have a 2050 in them, which is crazy. Today, 2026, like what are we doing? So I'm not going to go D tier. I'm going to go C tier. It's very underpowered. It's a low powered laptop GPU. But at the time, during shortages, I'm sure it was a nice fallback to have for a lot of laptops. Nothing to write home about, but it's certainly not D tier. I guess. I don't know. The fact that it had nothing to compete with, that we didn't have integrated iGPUs at the time that could compete with something like this. So, yeah, it's hard to say, but that's where I'm going to put that. You think 2050 belongs in F tier? Is it that bad? I guess I don't know the performance that much. I'm just saying it based on like value and like from what I've seen. I'm glad it existed. There was a time where this was like the only laptop GPU people can get. Okay. 2060 6 gig overclock edition. So the 2060, I don't know, man. The 2060 these days is at like what? $120? $130 maybe? I think if it's between the 2060 and RX 6600, I would probably take the RX 6600. And I think it's a little bit overpriced. And like I said earlier, I have a vendetta across the entire 20 series. So the 2060, I think it goes in C tier. I think there's just better alternatives out there for the price. Even when it came out, it wasn't a great value. The 2070 can go a little bit higher because in the used value, it's gotten some life out of it. I think it might be a good value these days. 2080 Super. I think the 2080 I'll also put down here in C tier. I think it's fine. It's just the price. 2080 Super, I think, might be a little bit higher. It's either A or B, which is generous because I hate the 20 series. But I have seen it in the used market for a pretty good deal for what it is. It's just, yeah, it's got to be B. It's just too old enough that I can't put it in A, and it's just a little bit too expensive. If it was a year newer or $30 cheaper, I would think it'd be an A. Like that's how close the margins are, guys. There's a lot of GPUs here, okay? And again, this is my opinion. I know I put objective in the title. That's a joke. I think the 2080 Super, yeah, in the B, just because of the used value. New value, I think they all sucked. Like truly, I don't think that sucked. That was a crappy year. I remember just seeing them and just being so underwhelmed and just thinking like we need more. But I like the 30 series, so that was some redemption. Let's go back to AMD for a bit. Damn, I am so late. Sorry. No, dude, you're good. You're good, Nathan. What's up, man? Poor me with a 3050. Sorry, man. You made it into D tier. Don't feel bad about it. Enjoy your card. This is just talking about buying it brand new when it came out or buying it used now. It doesn't take into account your personal situation, right? Like sometimes you're in a situation where it's all you can get, or it is the best value from the store that only has 3 models. So don't feel too bad about it. It's not a bad GPU. It's 4 gig of VRAM too. Okay, yeah, maybe you do. Then Schrodinger. The 4 gig version I would put into F tier actually. Sorry, man. The laptop version. Okay. It's all good. Let's see. Yeah, let's do some AMD. Ow, my head hurts. I see the potential in your content. Just saying. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I will feel truly accomplished if I hit 100,000 subscribers. That's the goal. The 6650 XT also was on a lot of really good sales, and I'm gonna put it in B tier. It was on a lot of good sales for like $200 brand new, which was awesome. But it was just overshadowed by the 6700 XT, 6750 XT sales. So I'm gonna put it in B tier, but it was a pretty good GPU. I kind of liked it. I'm looking to upgrade to a superior 5070 laptop in the future with 12 gig of RAM. Yeah, that'd be a very good upgrade for you, man. Very good. Let's do some modern stuff. I really like the 6800 XT. I think the 6800 XT is a good value used, and I think it's awesome. Hell yeah, Mr. Shy Guy. What's up? Thanks for all the help. Thanks, man. Thanks for all the help over the years. Thank you, man. Classic plus WoW in your future, yeah or nay? It's dude, it's hard to say. the normal person in me wants to say no, God no, right? But the classic WoW fan in me says maybe. It's I don't know. Well, I'll have to see. It's a maybe. I just get so addicted, man. I just can't do it. We'll see. Thanks, Mr. Shy Guy, for the donation. That means we hit our goal, guys. We hit our 150 goal. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. So that means I guess we're doing a live studio tour next week. Thanks to everyone who donated. Appreciate it. Yeah, dude. Classic Plus. I don't know, man. I want to so bad, but I don't know if I should. Maybe I'll dip a toe. Dip a toe. We'll see. Are you gonna play, Mr. Shy Guy? If we had a big group of like 20 people, Mr. Shy Guy, I would consider it. If you brought some people, look, let me just tell you, I have 10 people right now who I can get all to play. If we needed 10 people, I can get 10 people. Okay. So if you can bring some people and I can bring some people and we can make this happen, I think that'd be pretty fun. I just hate playing with random people. I hate playing with people playing online. They are a nightmare. Especially classic Andys who are 35-year-olds who are just so insufferable and like the most whiny babies you've ever seen. It's tough, man. Okay. God bless you. Hopefully you reach 100K subscribers. Thank you, Shortingers, though. Appreciate it, man. Big appreciate. Oh, man, we are running out of time. Okay, time to speed run. I'm going to drop 10 of these on here right now. 6800, I think, is a great GPU. I think it's a great GPU in the used market. I think it got overlooked when it was new because it's not an XT card. In the used market, it's a really, really strong 1440p contender, even to this day. I'm going to put it in A. I'm going to put the XT version in B. The B at the time when it came out, or 6800 XT when it came out, that's the one I would have bought. But in the used market, the 6800 is a great value because people don't want it. Looking forward to the studio tour. Thanks, man. Absolutely. When that day is dropped at BlizzCon, I'm putting in my PTO for that week. Awesome. We'll figure it out then. And just DM me later, man. We'll talk about it. I'm a maybe. I used to play WoW, but I escaped that prison. You will never truly escape Grimlong. The problem is that I only like Classic. I don't want to play retail at all. I just like Classic. More cards. Let's see. 6700 I think is not as good as the XT, but it can be fine. It can be found on a good value. I'm gonna put it on C just because I think it's a little bit too expensive in its price range. It's overshadowed by the XT, and there's too many cards in the same price range that kind of beat it. So C, not a bad card, but yeah, not a B. Let's see, what else do we got? 9070 XT. 9070 XT was supposed to be the godsend because it was $600 MSRP. Look how many GPUs we have. It won't sell out. And then it's sold out. And then it was never $600. I think once I've seen this card at $600. It's generally at $700. And finally, just like the last week or two, I think I did see it on sale for $600. So finally, after a year and a half, it's a good card. It is on par with the 5070, if not better, but it costs a little bit more. But it has got a big fat VRAM. I think it's a great card. I can't say it's an S tier because we don't know the used capacity of it yet. This could go in history as one of the best cards ever if it comes down in price in the used market. I'm going to put it an A just because of all the shenanigans on it. But it is a really, really good card. For the high end, this is a 16 gig card. Like, this is not, it's $600, $600 to $700. This is not for the faint. This is not for the budget guys. This is for the ballers. This is for the reluctant heroes and the Grimlongs of the world. Like, this is not for us mere mortals. The 6500 XT, that's going into Deer tier. Not into it. The 9070, I'm going to go right below the B. No, it's up there with A. I think the price difference is enough that it's like actually a valuable card. I like the 9070. And it went on sale recently. I prefer the RX 9070 more efficient. Yeah, and it's more power efficient too, yeah. The price difference is enough for you to actually care about. And there's not that much difference in performance, so might be worth it. 500 million views, baby. Let's go. Renato, what's up, man? Good to see you. 6.7, yes. Dylan, you're the only person saying 6.7 in 2026. The 9070 is legit. I liked it a lot, actually, yeah. I think people don't remember it. They don't think about it, but it's a good card. Let's do... I can get either a 9070 non-XT or a 5070 for 500. What should I get? If it's the same price... Man, it's tough to say. If it's the same price, I would say... No, you said... I know I said it, but you said it. Man, that's tough. I think they're both good. I just always have an NVIDIA bias, man. I love their features. I would probably go 5070 if they're both 500. Unless you absolutely need more VRAM. The RX 970 is the new 6800 efficiency kings. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I agree. The 3070, the RTX 3070, I think is a great card. I think it was great when it came out, and I think it's a great card now. I think it holds its value. It's been steady at about 240, 250 in the used market. The only downside is that it has 8 gigs of VRAM. It really should have had more. I would put it in S tier, but it because of that 8 gigs, I'm going to put that and the TI into A tier because great cards. But yeah, 8 gigs of VRAM, man. It just can't be an S at that price range. Every other $250 card has 12 gigs. The 3070 outperforms them generally, but for longevity, man, you want it. Sorry. I want that frame gen. Nice, dude. Yeah. Then that might be it. The 3060 Ti was strange because it had 8 gigs of VRAM instead of 12. That sucks. So I can't put it as high, and I think it. But there was often times where I found the 3060 Ti for like $20 more. So do you give off a little bit of VRAM for a little bit more performance for only $20 more? I think yeah. I think depending on your use case, I think it might be better. 3070 Ti B tier, I'll take that. That's fine. It depends on the price. The 3060 Ti though, it's not S tier at all. But I think in the used market, it went. It's kind of like people don't think about it, but it was a good card for the price. It just had a little bit less VRAM. As long as the price is right, I think the 3060 Ti is also a B tier, possibly on the cusp of A if in the right situation, depending on your computer. But because it's so specific and in such a weird spot, I can't give it an A. Yeah, 9070s. Oh man, if it's the same price on eBay, yeah, I would buy the XT at that point. But why would you spend over MSRP to buy a used card? That's nonsense. That's more than the card is worth. Just buy it new. That's so foolish. Let's see. We're almost done here. 9070 for the fat VRAM buffer. True. But DLA, DLSS on NVIDIA is pretty dope. Yeah, it's a toss-up. Let's see. Are there any cards on here? I don't like the 4060 Ti. I think it's a confusing card. I don't like that they have different VRAMs. I don't think it's worth the price. I don't like it. The 4060 is underpowered. It has less VRAM than it should, and it was hard to take that because the 3060 had 12. But I think after it came out, like within a year, it was so expensive when it came out. I think it was like 330 or something, maybe 300. I got one used on Jawa for like 230 a year after it came out, 230, and it's like incredibly power efficient. It put out no heat. My room was cool as a cucumber, man, when I was playing with that thing, and it could do really, really good, like early 1440p. I'm gonna put it in B tier just for the used aspect of it, but brand new, yeah, not a great value. And I know people hated the 4060, but truly, my experience with it used, it was pretty good. I think it was all right. I know people hate the 4060 and the 5060, but I don't. Sorry, I think they're kind of cool. The 4070 Super, man, I hated the whole 4070 line, man. Why did they do this? Like, it's so confusing. Only one of these cards was worth the money because if you looked at the price to performance, I'm not going to look used. No one's buying these used. The new versions was the most expensive one, if I remember right. The 4070 Ti Super. Wasn't that the only one that made sense out of these four? Like, that was the one that you got the best price to performance, if I'm remembering correctly, because I want to put that one above the others. And I think it was the Ti Super, even though that was quite pricey. But at the time, it made a lot of sense. It was the only 40 card that made any sense. Beyond used, obviously, new. If the 5060 Super with 12 gigs is true, we'll be placing it S tier 6 years from its release. I agree. I think that would be sick. That would be ideal. A 5060 Super would crush right now, man. The price is wrong, Bob. Nope, the 4070 Ti. Was that the one that people liked? I can't remember. There was one of them that was like significantly, like just made more sense. And I thought it was Ti Super, and I know the other ones were just weird. 4070, we'll just go C. I'm going to put them all in C for now. I just thought it was just a whatever lineup. I will put the TI Super a little bit above because I think that's the one that was a little bit better. It was the only one that made sense. They're just overpriced, man. The 4090, dude, say what you want about the 4090. The 4090 kept its value the entire time it was real. And then once the 5090 came up, the price of the 4090 went up. You could have bought a 4090 on release, retail, for what, 1600, and then resold it for 2500 3 years later. What other card on this list has that kind of value? A negative or a positive value, I mean. Like, that does not exist. So if you want me to put that kind of value on the bottom, you're crazy. That card held its value more than anything. And you can say, oh, it's not worth the money. What money? Getting money? Was it not worth getting money? There's no way. There's no way I put it below. That is what value is, guys. I understand it's expensive, but you get the money back like a cash-free rebate at Albertsons, man. Like, you can't give up on that. That is something. Now, it's a gamble. You're gambling when you buy these high-end cards because that doesn't always happen. Sometimes there's a crash. Sometimes they lose value very quickly. But for the 4090 and the 5090, we have seen that's simply not true. They hold their value above all, and they are amazing cards. Like, truly, they are amazing. I have to put the 4090 in A tier. Like, I can't put it in S because that initial cost is very high, but the 4090 being, for what happened to the 4090, it has to be S tier, or A tier, I mean. You're not going to like that, but that's just how it goes. A year from now, that will probably drop to B. A year from now, after that, maybe even C. We don't know. This is just for now. Just for now. I'm betting that happens with the 5092. I agree. And that's why I'm putting it in B tier, only because we don't know. I had a 5090. It is a very, very strong card. There is something to say where you can play everything on 4K maxed out and not ever have to worry about it. You don't have to look at your settings. Everything's going to look amazing, and it is really, really fun. But $2,000 is hard to swallow. But as it goes right now, I'm pretty sure you can resell 5090s for more than that. So I can't give it below a B because it's the value's there. If people are going to keep buying them, we can't. For me, too power hungry and with a danger zone of burning. Okay, that's fair. That's totally fair. It is power hungry. I don't think the 5090 will. It's like 3,500 more than it's worth now. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe it'll go up in value, dude. If we come back in a year, maybe we'll do this in a year. And if the 5090 is worth more now or then than it is now, I'll move it up to A. And, I'll eat crow. Let's see. 5060 Ti. No, let's do some AMD ones. We're almost done here. The 9060 XT. I recently bought the 9060 XT for my Steam machine video, and it was $400 for a 16 gig card. I love that it has a 16 gig variant. I think it was surprisingly strong. It's not a 4K card. It is a 1440p card. And it does that very well. I think for $400, I think that's good. If we're talking, let's talk about the 16 gig variant. Let's pretend the 8 gig variant doesn't exist. But yeah, I think it's a good card. I think 400 is just a lot for what it is. I'm gonna go B. I think it's a good card. I just wish it was cheaper. No, you know what? I'll go A. I'll go A. I think it's A. I think the current landscape dictates A, unfortunately. If things were in a better place right now, I think it would be down to B, but market dictates. I'm still kicking myself for passing on a 4090 FE at the 1600 MSRP direct from NVIDIA in May 2024. You could have bought that card, used it for 2 years, and then sold it for $1,000 more. You know what I mean? Like, you not only do you get to enjoy the best graphics in the world, you also make money. It's like, it's a gamble for sure because you never know what's going to happen to the market. But I don't know. I think that if you have the money to fly, if you have the money to like just hold steady for that long, it's hard to say no, guys. I don't know. This is not financial advice. NVIDIA charge an ARM for that RTX 5060 Ti. I think the 5060 Ti is too expensive. I don't think it shouldn't be above the 5060. So I agree. I think the 5060, I like the 5060. I like it. I think if you get a 5060, it's low power, it's surprisingly powerful, it's got all these great features. If you're getting it for 350, that's a lot of money. I don't know if it's that great of a deal. But if you bought it for 300, which it often is for sale, not right now, market is bad. I think it would be higher. I'm gonna put it in B because the market is bad. Unfortunately, not a bad card, but it's just so expensive, man. 350 that's a tough pull for that card. If it was down to 300 or 280, it'd be an A. 5060 Ti, because of that, will go in C. It's not worth the extra cost. It's too expensive. 5060 will be the budget goat in a few years. I think so too. I think if it starts to come down in price or we see more production. Less than 1% of cards with the 12-volt high power connector have had issues, and everyone I've seen was user error. Yeah, I never had any issues with it. I'm not sure what people are talking about. You just got to plug it in. There are a few YouTubers who bought the 5090, some models hit MSRP during summer 25, and then recently sold them for profit in spring of 26. Yeah, dude, free money, and you got to enjoy. 5070 Ti A tier? Why do you say that? I don't know enough about the 5070 Ti. Is there a 5070 Ti? I know about the 5070. Have I tried the 5070 Ti? Oh yeah, there is one. How much does it cost? What's the MSRP? Hold on. Whoa, it's expensive. $900. Is that real? $750? No, that's for the 5070. Seems expensive. Why would you say A tier? Sounds very, very, very expensive. I'll pass over that. The 5070, I do have experience with the 5070. I think the 5070 is an okay card. It's got 12 gigs of VRAM. I think you think it's the best performance to cost in the 50 series. Okay. I don't have any experience with it. To me, the 5070, I bought it when it was $500. The MSRP was $550, but there was a while there where it was $500, and I thought, you know what, this is a okay price for what this is. It's pretty good 1440p, entry level 4K, good features, good power efficiency. It never got too hot. But I rarely see it at 550 now. I mean, I usually see it at 600, man. So because of that, it's gonna get a B. I wish it could be an A because I do like the card. I think the card's pretty good. The 5080 is only 12% better than the 5070 Ti, so I'd put that thing in D. Yeah, the 5080 is kind of a chumps card, unfortunately. It just doesn't make any sense for a lot of people. It's just too expensive. It's going to go in D. It's too expensive for what it is. There's better options. The MSRP was supposed to be $750, but it's more like $900 for lowest end models. It only goes up from there. Oh yeah, what am I talking about? I have a whole video on the 5070 Ti. That was the one that they thought was going to get discontinued. Oh, I've got streamer brain, man. How did I forget that? Yeah, and I got it at a good price, and like it went up in price literally right after that. What's up, Drew? I have a 5070 Ti. I paid like $820 for mine around release. Yeah. Okay, I do remember it now. That thing was pretty powerful, actually. I remember being like an actual 4K card. That thing is pretty good, actually, and it's got 16 gigs of VRAM. Okay, I'll put it above the 5070. I did think it's pretty good. It's expensive, but like it was pretty good when I tried it. I liked it. A tier? I'll put an A tier. I think it's fair. For now. This is all tentative. Oh yeah, that's all the NVIDIA cards. No Intel cards, of course. But let's do these last ones on AMD. Man, the 7700 XT I did not like. It made no sense. Wait, was that the one I was thinking of? Yeah, there was the 7800 XT and the 7700 XT, and it was only like $50 less. or $100 less, and it made no sense. It's like, why would anybody buy this? It's like they hamstrung their own card. The 50/50. All right, where do you want me to put the 50/50? I don't know anything about this card. I'll put it wherever y'all tell me to put it. B tier? Sure. I'll do that. The 7700 XT, I'm going to put. Okay, the 7800 XT, again, these were those. They had sales on these things, man, on Amazon. It was great. On Black Friday, you can get these cards for really affordable. I'm going to put the 7800 XT in B tier. I think it got overshadowed by a lot of its competition, especially on Nvidia, unfortunately. And the 7700 XT goes below it in C tier because it just wasn't, the value wasn't there. Unless it went on Omega sale, then maybe it was worth it. I think at one point it did get $150 cheaper, so it just depends. I'm going to say overall no, but who knows? That's what I'm saying. No one really needs more than a 97 XT or a 5070 Ti. Those are the peak cards at this moment in time. Yeah, I'd agree with that. 50/50 is fine. Boring, but also not $500. So yeah, true. 50/50 is a solid B if you can get it at the 250 MSRP. Okay, cool. I'll have to trust y'all on that. I truly have not. I've not even looked at it. Maybe I'll do a video on it. People love when I dunk on their cheap cards. But release of FSR 4 on them used can make sense. Yeah, FSR always brings the lower cards up a bit. The 7900 XTX, I did try this card. I thought it was pretty good at the time. And honestly, I would rather have it over the 4080. I think it was always on sale. It was cheaper and it performed in line with the pricing. I'm going to put it. This was the most powerful AMD card that year. The 7900 XTX. I'll put it in B tier. Just because they were so confusing. The 7900 GRE, that was that $500 card that came out. That was actually a pretty good value. Unlike the new GRE card that came out, I think this one was actually pretty good. It was like right in line with what you'd expect. I'll put it in A tier because at the time it made a lot of sense. It doesn't make any sense anymore, unfortunately. 6900 XT card was a little bit too powerful. Didn't make any sense. Who is it for? I'll put it up here with B tier. Just because I want my enthusiast homies to get some AMD cred. 7900 XT, yeah, the 7900 XT made no sense. Just buy the XTX. That's gonna go down here with 7700 as well. It was like it just made no sense, dude. Just buy the XTX. Well, what did this exist? Try to get an open box 50/50 from Micro Center. Okay, I'll try it out. 7900 GRE was my first AMD card and it blew me away. Yeah, it was good value. That was the only GRE card that I was like, pretty good value for what it is. I think it was $500 when it came out, and you could get it everywhere. Better times, huh, guys? Isn't it fun that technology has this ebb and flow where it's like impossible to get cards, and then sometimes you can get them, and then it's impossible. And yeah, I love doing this every other year. These names are so erg. XTX sounds like a Homestar bit. Yeah. And they change it constantly. That's the annoying part. Like they constantly go back and forth on these stupid names. Like what is GRE? Like I know what GRE means, but you think the average person knows what GRE means? And is that good? Is that good? We have 2 cards left because I'm not going to do these 4. 7600, 7600 XT. 7600 was okay. I think both of these cards I'll probably put together. I think the 7600 was a little bit underpowered, but if you can get it for a good price, it's okay. I'm going to put it in C, and then I'm going to put this in B tier. I think. Great. Do I really only have 2 cards in S tier? Maybe I'm being too critical. Okay, if it was up to me, here, I'm going to do this. Because I think I love the 3080. I think the 3080 was a great card. I think what it did and its difference and how it stood out makes it an S tier. I think it's a good value. I think it's kept its value for a long time. I would have no problem putting it in my machine. And because of that, I'm also going to bring the 6800X or the 6800 up to S tier because when it came out, it was awesome. It held its value for a long time and it's still awesome. I think these are great value cards, a higher end value card. And I would have no problem putting it in my machine today. So that is like a good indicator to move it up. Let's see. 1080 Ti is okay in A. 6700 XT, those okay. A. This looks pretty good. The Golden Rabbit edition is the Great Radeon edition. Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. It makes no sense. Didn't Jensen Huang try to convince everyone that the TI after the number is read as T, and everyone was like, nah? Yeah. It's funny because he would constantly say T, but then there's constantly like tons of videos of NVIDIA employees saying TI and videos of him saying TI. It's like, no, dude, it's TI. You can't go back on this. I'm on a GF 1660 normie. What is underpowered? Wait, I'm on a GF 1660 normie. What is underpowered? I'm confused. I thought TI was Titan or Titanium or something because they used to use those as naming convention or something. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, TI I believe was Titanium, which why? And then they also had a card called the Titan and Titan X and stuff. You know what I mean? It's unrelated to the TI and Titanium. Two different things. Just using random words. And then Super is like the things that come in after the TI. They are refreshes. You know, it's just so confusing. The RX 40 has almost the same performance of the 580 and the 5500. Yeah, for sure. I understand that. I just personally don't want to rank it. Oh, you said RX 7600 was underpowered. Where does it compare? So it's not that it was underpowered. 7600 is actually okay. It was underpowered compared to the 7600 XT. So the 7600 in terms of power, I believe, is somewhere around a 3060. And it was just a little bit too late on that, and the price was a little bit too high. So I think it's not a bad card at all, and I think it's just never reached that price to performance premium where I felt like, hey, that's a good. There's always something that's like a little bit better or something that's like a little bit cheaper. So that's why I put the 7600 XT a little bit higher because at least it reached that threshold a little bit. 7600 just never got there. Like it was just always kind of stuck in the middle between the other cards. And remember, a lot of this is off my memory, right? And so sometimes I don't even remember what I'm comparing it to. I'm just going off at the time what I felt like, what was going on. I could be wrong. I could be misremembering things. Steam Machine has put respect on the RX 7600's name. Yeah, very true. Very true. I think it has a lot of good potential. But as a GPU, you go out and you go on Amazon to buy. I don't think it was a great value for a lot of people. I think there's always something better, either in the new market or the used market alternative. So not the most amazing card, but not the worst one at all either. If you got it for a good value, I think it might be okay. And you know what's interesting? If you see, we have a bell curve, which is exactly what you want in this kind of scenario. A bell curve means that there's going to be a little bit at the top, a little bit at the bottom, and then up. We're going to go, right? You guys can see this bell curve. This is what you want. This is a good spread. This is what it should look like. How sad, not one Intel card. Okay, look, there was no Intel card on this tier list. Let's do it right now. The Intel Arc B580, I would put in an A tier. It would be up here. I think it's a good value for what it is. I think it has a good VRAM, but I cannot put it in S tier because it's unproven. We don't have years of experience with it. We don't have a used market with it yet. It truly can't be S yet under any circumstances because it's not old enough. Sorry. But I would put the B580 under A tier. But then basically all the other Intel cards would probably be either in the B tier or C tier. Maybe like the 770 would be in the B tier, and then the 750 would be in the C tier. They're fine, but they never got the sales they needed. They came out the gate thinking they were like NVIDIA, and they're not. You think A770 C tier? Okay. It depends on the price. A380 double S tier. Yeah, we'll put the A380 in double S tier. We can do that. I'm down for that. Yeah, so the Intel, they would also be sparsed out through here. They're not on this list, unfortunately. So, but yeah, the highest would be the B580, and I would probably put an A. They had potential, just driver support was not good. Yeah, I like the B580, and I like the other cards too. They need more time to be higher on a rank. Because remember, how can you compare a B580 to like the 1080 Ti? Man, it's like history. It's just impossible to compare because we're comparing new releases and used and time in the market and like community reception. Like it's really hard to compare it. I got a B580 for transcoding in my Jellyfin server. I remember that. Paid 200 for it, and I put it in S tier. Nice. Yeah, that's great. Guys, everyone, I wanted to mention that Grimlong said my WD Blue hard drives are basically useless, even though I'm using 5 of them in my server. So just remember that Grimlong said that WD Blues are useless. Mm-hmm. And he throws away graphics cards. He told me that whenever he's done with using graphics cards, he just throws them in the trash, and he would never give them away for free because he hates you, and he wants to throw away the cards, and he likes creating e-waste. The rumored B780, if true, would be epic. We need more cards. How does Intel just make one good card and then disappear? Where have they been? They've been getting bought out by Trump. Like, use that money. Where's that money? No, the guy wanted to mix purple drives with blue. Why? Purple drives are for security cameras. Like, they really shouldn't be used in a NAS. They are designed for constant read writes. You'd be paying a premium for no reason in a home server. Like, they are designed specifically to constantly write, rewrite, all day. They cost so much more than blues. Not a good buy. You can't set that up in a ZFS. Yeah, true. Yeah. I think the colors WD use are actually pointless. The colors aren't necessarily pointless. They are just kind of dictating the types of drives they are. And they are different. Like they are. And they all have their use cases. But yeah, purple is for security cameras. So I think there's probably even a camera on the packaging. So it would just be strange to pay for a premium. And that's why if you look at most NVRs, they only have spot for like one hard drive. It's not really about setting up a bunch. The idea is to have just one big hard drive and just write to it over and over. And you're constantly writing and rewriting, rewriting and stuff. So yeah, that guy shouldn't do that. So it makes sense. Guys, we hit our goal. A live studio tour next week. That's pretty sick. Thank you to everyone who donated. Super nice of you. But we need to think of something to do after that then. So if you have, before I get off, I'm going to get off in a few minutes. I'm going to go play Back for Blood with the homies. So if y'all have any more ideas for a live stream, let me know now. I would love to do more interesting things, not just shit talk for 2 hours. So think of something a little bit extra, a little bit better, a little bigger, something we can do. Can we see the free GPU pile? You know what's funny? I go through a lot of GPUs, you guys know that, but I always kept the boxes. And so when I would get rid of the cards, I throw them in the trash. I would keep the boxes. And so there was a point where I had 20 different GPU boxes all in the corner. And I was just thinking about like, what are these for? Like, what am I using these for? And I eventually tossed them all. But there was a time where they were just taking up so much space because I wanted to do a bit in a video where I am pretending to throw them away, like making it rain in GPU boxes. They're all empty. But they just started to take up so much spot and I couldn't think about it. Tier list my prior builds. Interesting. Go through all my old videos and write it out. Here, I'll write that down. Give me some more ideas. Yeah, it's an interesting one. And that is higher concept because that would take a lot of time. Tier list prior builds. I like that. But yeah, here's our tier list, guys. I think it's pretty good. I think this is reasonable. I think we're in a good spot. Yeah, I wanted that A77 emulation PC you built. That was a good one. I think no one expected an Intel card in that machine. Deshroud a GPU and replace with case fans, controlling speeds of fan control, and see if it makes temperature sound difference. Sure, I'll put it on. I've actually done that before. I've done it with somebody sold me a 1080 Ti. This was during the GPU shortage. They had a 1080 Ti that was water blocked, but their water block broke, and so it was just the card and the heatsink. And so I bought that for a very discounted price, and I strapped on two 140 case fans on it and ran it through the thing on the board that you can plug into to control the fan speed, and it worked. It worked great, actually. Like, no problem whatsoever. And I resold it for a profit. It was pretty cool. I sold it as like a janky card, but it worked perfectly. And I ran tons of tests on it. It was really fun to mess with. No, wait, no, it didn't come with the heatsink. I'm sorry. It came with just the card, no heatsink, no fans. But you can actually buy a shroud and a heatsink for these kind of cards from a company called Tech. They sell one, and it goes on to basically any GPU, and it gives you this huge heatsink that connects it directly attaches directly to the die, and it's screwed in perfectly. And I was able to put two fans on it and like zip tie them on and sell it as like a really cool janky card. It was fun. Upgrade an Office PC until it gets stupid live stream series. Upgrade and benchmark. I think that's actually better for streams, Dylan, because you've recommended that before. So that might be a good idea. Because I just can't come to think how that. I'm writing it down. I just don't think how that would work in a main video, because people don't follow main videos like that. But in a stream, people follow streams like that. So that might be something to do. Office PC build. Upgrade. That'd be kind of fun. Because I've had it written down for a while. I just couldn't figure out how to do it in a video, but in a stream, it could be done. Like, how many AAA batteries does it take to run a AAA gaming PC? I don't think I have the capability to do that. If you replace the heatsink on a GPU, how do you cool the RAM? So the one I used, it went directly on the die, and then there were thermal pads on top of all the other chips, and it worked good. I don't tear apart GPUs typically, as you shouldn't. You really shouldn't. I only do it when I'm repairing, repasting, or painting. Unleash the YouTube comment section upon it. Oh, that'd be fun. YouTube comments, going through some of the worst, because I like to post them in the Discord, but that'd be kind of fun. Some of them are really mean, guys. You guys would not believe some of the things people say. Really horrible things. But that would be pretty fun. I cool my GPU with Goon Glue. That's not effective. That's going to dry up immediately, man. Hold on, let me see if these guys are... Oh, wait. I think they might be waiting for me to play Back for Blood. No, they're not. B for B? Question mark? Trying to figure out if they're waiting for me. I don't think so. Grims is dry when it comes out. Damn, it's dust, bro. Okay. Tell them you like us more. Well, I like Back for Blood a lot. Thanks everyone for watching. This was really fun. I'm looking forward to doing more streams that are more on schedule and more interesting and more in depth. So I appreciate everyone who donated tonight. Super nice of y'all. Appreciate it. I'd like to keep that going, just to make it more worth the time, and maybe we can put that extra money towards having like cool things on stream, like the upgrading the Office PC thing. Like maybe put it towards that. That'd be pretty cool. Tell them on the parasocial asymmetrical relationship tier list we are S. They are A. And I think most of them don't understand any of this. But maybe. GG and good show. Thank you, man. Thanks everyone for coming. Appreciate it. And thanks to anyone who donated. Very, very nice of you. And I'll think about what we can do for the next one. So come back next week, maybe 2 weeks if I'm busy, but I'm hoping to do it next week. Same time, we'll do a studio tour. I got to figure out how to get this away from the computer. So, okay, maybe I shouldn't touch it. I need to figure out how to get that away from the computer, and I can go through the whole office because there's a lot of super cool stuff in here. I'd love to show y'all. That'd be really fun. But more in like an intricate autistic way where I like pick up a mouse and I say, I love this mouse. Look how dirty this is. That is literally my finger sized. How did that happen? Disgusting. Man, I'm going to have to clean this place. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night. Appreciate it. See y'all in the Discord. And if you're not a part of the Discord, join the Discord. It's in the comments. Go join it. Appreciate it. Have a great week, guys. Stream from your phone. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to have to do. We can do that. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for doing the tier list. Appreciate it. Have a great night.